Hello everyone, I am Simran Kaur from Shiv Jyoti Educational Group and today we will start chapter number 16, Water a Precious Resource. The topics which we'll see are forms of water, sources of water, depletion of water table, distribution of water, water management and water conservation. Now water, you know that water is a natural and renewable resource, and why do we use water? To survive, to quench our thirst. So water provides habitat to plants and animals. Without water there will be no life. Do you know that nowadays humans are looking for life on some other planet? So what is the one condition out of many by which planet can support life? That is the availability of water on that planet. So if water is present on any celestial body, then there are possibilities of life there. It is necessary for sustenance of life and it is a renewable resource. Okay, on 22nd March, we celebrate World Water Day every year. So by celebrating means the intention behind celebrating this World Water Day is to inspire people to learn about all the water related issues. Nowadays, you know that in today's world there are so many water related issues like water pollution, depletion of water table. So intention is to inspire people. So here comes your first internal question which you have to write on page 199. When is World Water Day celebrated? And the answer is 22nd March. Then body water. Now our body also contains water and it contains nearly 72% water. So why is water present in our body and how it is helpful? Like the water which is present inside our body, it is used in digestion, means it helps in digestion of food, it helps in excretion, then it helps in absorption of nutrients, it helps in the transportation of substances inside our body, and it also regulates the body temperature. Whenever we feel hot, our body starts sweating. So what is that? Removal of water from our body to maintain our body temperature. So who is responsible? Water. So it helps in digestion of food in stomach, nutrient absorption in blood, excretion of body waste. If we drink less amount of water, then you know we face the problem of constipation because there is problem in excretion. Then regulation of body temperature through sweat and medium of transport and chemical reactions. If we talk about plants, plant body also contains nearly 60% of water, and that water is responsible for photosynthesis. If you remember, we discussed 4 necessary conditions for photosynthesis, and one of the condition was the presence of water. So water plays an important role in plant's body also, and that water helps in germination, that means in the growth of plant, and in mineral absorption. We know that plants absorb nutrients and minerals from the soil through roots. But how is that exchange possible? Because of the water, because those nutrients, those minerals get dissolved in water and that water is absorbed by the roots of plant. Now we'll talk about the forms of water. You know that there are 3 physical states: solid, liquid and gas, and water is available in all 3 states. In solid, you have seen ice, we freeze ice in our home also, so that is water in solid form. If water is at 0 degrees Celsius or below 0 degrees Celsius, then it will be in the form of solid. And where else you can see in nature? In glaciers, snow, hail, icebergs, this is all water in solid state. Then next is in liquid state, which we drink, that is water in liquid state. So it is present in liquid state from the range 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. Like the water in seas, oceans, rivers, lake, that is all water in liquid form. Then in gaseous state, you have seen the steam, like nowadays this is winter season, we drink tea or milk or coffee. So we see that steam, that is water in liquid state, and the temperature is 100 degrees Celsius or above it. Then interconversion of 3 forms of water. You know that we can change the state of water from one to another. How? Let's look here. We have written 3 states here. Ice, that means water in solid, then water, that means the liquid water we are talking about here, and water vapor, water in gaseous state. So how can we interconvert these states? Look, if you will take ice and if you will heat it, then it will melt into liquid water. Very simple. Then if you will provide heat to our liquid water, then it will convert into water vapor, that means water in gaseous state. Okay, now we can reverse the whole process by cooling. If you will cool water vapor, so by cooling, that means by condensation, we are converting water vapor into the liquid water. And again, if you will provide, if you will cool that liquid water, it will convert into ice cubes. That means on freezing, we will get solid water. So this is interconversion of 3 forms of water. Physical state of matter can be changed by alternating temperature or pressure. So here comes your next internal question, which you have to write on page 200. Show interchangeability of states of water by an equation, and equation is present in your book, so you have to mark that equation. Okay, moving further, our next topic is water cycle. Cycle, that means on repeat mode. So conversion of the states of water into nature is known as water cycle. Again, this one is very simple topic. So first step in water cycle is evaporation. You know that water is present all over the surface of earth, and every time, every single second, evaporation is happening, either from the water body because of the sun's heat, okay, or one more reason is there, that is transpiration, which plants perform. So through evaporation by water bodies and through transpiration by plant body, this liquid water is getting converted into water vapor, water in gaseous state. Okay, now this water vapor will rise to a certain height, okay, and we know that as we move upward, temperature starts decreasing. So because of the low temperature, that water vapor will condense, it will get cooled down, and after cooling down, it will convert into a cloud. So second step is condensation. We are getting a cloud. Now when this cloud gets heavy, precipitation occurs. This is precipitation, that means rainfall or snowfall. So by precipitation, we are getting back that water on our earth's surface. So you can see that this is a cycle. First water is evaporating, then again it is getting on the earth. So this is a cycle. Here it's a concise form. This is groundwater or surface water. Evaporation is happening, then condensation, formation of clouds, then precipitation, that means rainfall or snowfall. So this is continuous circulation of water in nature. Now what is the importance of water cycle in nature? Look, the importance is that it regulates the weather. That means you know that in some area there is no water body, but because of this water cycle, that area receive rainfall, and with that rainfall, that place is getting water from the nature. Okay, now I will show you evaporation and condensation. How does it take place on small scale? So for that I have taken a glass containing boiling water. So you can see that liquid water is getting converted into water vapors or steam. But in nature, evaporation takes place. And what is evaporation? Conversion of liquid water into gaseous state below its boiling point because of the presence of sun. So when I will place the plate on the top of this glass, so we'll wait for a few seconds. As the water vapors rises upward, because of the low temperature, the water vapors cool down and they condense. They condense to form clouds. That means they condense and convert into liquid water. So let's see, can you see the water droplets on the plate? So this is whole process of evaporation and condensation. Then rain and snow. Rainwater is the purest form of natural water. Look, through this step here, precipitation, we are getting rainwater, and it is the purest form of water. But why do we call acidic rain, that rain is acidic? Because as this rainwater comes near the atmosphere of earth, that means comes near the earth's surface, then that rainwater gets mixed with the various gases which is present in our atmosphere, like sulfur, nitrogen, and because of those gases our rainwater is getting impure. But initially rainwater is the purest form of water. And ice caps hold 2.4% of total water. This is ice cap. So here comes your third internal question, which you have to write on page 200. Which is the purest form of water? And the answer is rainwater. Next topic is sources of water. There are two sources of water: surface water and underground water. Surface water, the water which is present on the surface of earth, is known as surface water. Like you have seen rivers, lakes, ponds, which you can see, the water which you can see on the surface, that is surface water. Water in ocean, sea. Then underground water, the water which is present under the ground is known as underground water. You know that under the ground soil particles is there. Okay, soil particles are there, rocks are present. So the spaces between soil particles and rocks, that space is filled up by the water, and that constitute underground water. So rivers, lakes and ponds, these are the sources of surface water. Oceans and seas. Then groundwater, the water which we obtain from the underground. So groundwater is the water located beneath the ground surface. Top level of underground water is called water table. You know that inside the earth water is present. So the top level of that water is known as water table. And a unit of rock which can yield usable quantity of water is called an aquifer. In simple language, aquifer is so that inside beneath the earth's surface, so many big rocks are also present and spaces are also present. So the water which is stored between those pieces of rocks, so that storage area, that is known as aquifer. So understood what is aquifer? You can say it is a storage area beneath the earth's surface where water is stored between the big rocks. Wells and springs, these are the sources of underground water. This is spring. Now infiltration. Now how that water goes into the beneath the earth's surface, that is through infiltration. You know that during rainfall, the water which we obtain during rainfall, that is seeped through the soil particles. You know that soil can absorb water. So that soil absorbs rainwater, and that water goes beneath the earth's surface and stored as underground water. So that seepage of rainwater is known as infiltration. You can see this is rainfall, this is inflow, and this is our ground. So the spaces present between soil particles, they absorb this rainwater. Next topic is depletion of water table. Water table gets naturally replenished by continuous seepage of rainwater. We know that water is a renewable resource. That means nature replenish it. But because of the higher consumption of water, it leads to depletion of water table. That means for various activities we are using underground water, and that results in the depletion of water table. However, water table may go down if not replenished at regular intervals. Now this is water levels in wells due to depletion of water table. This is empty well, there is no water. Now what are the factors leading to depletion of water tables? There are various factors. We'll discuss one by one. First is increasing population. You know that day by day population is increasing, our population is on higher side. So with more population there is consumption of water, more consumption of water, and with more population there is demand for the construction, for constructing homes, for buildings. So when we construct anything, what we are doing, actually we are covering that area which earlier was used to, help in the absorption of rainwater. So this is the one factor. Then increasing industries. With increase in population, more industries are established. So though during the manufacturing, during the construction of those industries get water from where? Like you know that to make a home we need water. Obviously to construct an industry, to construct any industry we need water. So those builders extract water from the underground. So we are getting water from the underground, that means we are using underground water. So that is also a cause of depletion of water table. Then increasing agricultural activities. In few areas rainwater is not sufficient to irrigate crops. So farmers do what? They extract water from the underground. They are again using underground water, which results in depletion of water table. Then scanty rainfall. If any area is not receiving rainfall, then how the absorption will take place through soil particles? There will be no absorption, there will be no refilling of our water table. So again the next factor. Then deforestation, yes, the very common practice done by humans, deforestation, cutting down of trees. So when we cut trees, we are doing what? We are using that land for any industry to construct anything. That means we are declining the area for absorption of rainwater. So these all are factors which leads to depletion of water table. Now distribution of water. This is a pie chart showing the amount of water present on earth. 97% of water is salt water, which is present in oceans and seas. And the remaining 2.5% is frozen fresh. That means the water present in glaciers, icebergs, and the remaining only 0.5% is fresh accessible water. That means fresh water which we can use to perform various activities like drinking, taking bath, or cooking vegetables. All the activities which we do, we use this fresh water. Now rainfall. All the regions of the world do not receive equal amount of rain. Some regions remain wet during most part of the year, while some receive very less amount of rainfall for only a few days in the year. Here we are talking about extremities of rainfall. There are few regions in our country or in the world which receive very heavy rainfall, but on the other hand there are few places which receive very less rainfall. So if we talk about India, the green part, these green states receive high rainfall. These are the Indian states like Karnataka, Kerala, Orissa, West Bengal, Sikkim, Uttarakhand. These all regions in India receive high rainfall, heavy rainfall. Okay, then next topic, water management. Water management, how do we manage water? Like in any company we have manager who manages the whole company. Similarly, water management, here we are managing the consumption of water. So it is our responsibility to use water wisely and judiciously. So methods for water conservation, how can we save water? The methods are first rainwater harvesting, that means by storing rainwater. By storing rainwater we can use that same rainwater for performing any other activity, like we can save it for future. Then immediate repair of water leakage. If you see any tap which is leaking, you can call plumber immediately which can fix it. Then efficient system of water management. A proper system should be there on large scale to save water. This is water harvesting. How can you use at your domestic level? Suppose this is your house and you have a proper rainwater harvesting system at your home. So during rainy season, during rainfall, the rainwater which falls on the roof of your home, through the connections, means through the pipes, you can store it in a tank, and this tank is present under the ground. So here in this tank you are collecting rain water, and you can use this water from the tank for your activities, like for gardening, for showering, for cooking vegetables. And what are the advantages of water harvesting? It increases water availability, it enhances soil moisture, it raises groundwater table. Yes, by absorption of rainwater we are increasing the groundwater table. It prevents soil erosion and floods, and it is environment friendly. It causes no harm to our environment. Another method is by modern irrigation systems, means modern irrigation method. Irrigation, that means supply of water to the crops. So we can switch to the modern techniques. Like modern techniques are drip irrigation and sprinkler method, which uses very less amount of water. This is drip irrigation. Here what we are using a pipe, a very long pipe, and an opening is there near the root of the plant where the water is needed. So that water is provided at the that means at the tip of the plant. So here we are conserving a large amount of water. So water is allowed to drip slowly at or near the root zone of plants. And this is sprinkler irrigation, which is very common, which you see in the parks or on the grounds. It is like similar. It is similar to the artificial rainfall. Okay, in your school grounds also this is used. This sprinkler irrigation. Okay, now what are the wise tips which we can do? Encourage people to conserve water. Like you all are aware of the water related issues, so you can encourage other people to conserve water. We all are educated people, so we can encourage other. Do not leave taps running, obvious reason. Then avoid flushing toilet unnecessarily. Okay. If it is required only one time, then flush toilet only one time. When washing car, use bucket instead of hose pipe. Yes, because if we use hose pipe to wash our car, then it will use a large amount of water. So we are wasting it. Do not discard water used for washing vegetables, rice. Yes, not nowadays, we always wash vegetables before cooking. So we can reuse that water. We can use that water for either washing or for watering the plants. So we are using it, reusing it. Okay, now water storage. Due to unequal availability of water throughout the year, man has traditionally stored water to ensure a continuous supply. Various structures have been built especially around temples or community centers to ensure water supply to the people. Not only nowadays, but in traditional time, that means in earlier time also, people used to store water. Nowadays also we store water. Okay, we have fixed hours during which water supply is there. So what we do, we store water. So on large scale, people used to store water. These are the traditional water storage structures. This is Bori. It has so many steps, and during rainy season, water is stored in this. It is a tank-like structure, only it has so many steps. Then this is water tank, which is very common. Then effect of water scarcity on plants. Not only human beings or animals, plants also need water. So what will be the effect if there is less amount of water available to plants? You know that water also needs nutrients and minerals, and that absorption of minerals happens by the roots through water only. So if there is less amount of water, or if there is no water, then there will be no absorption of water and nutrients, minerals and nutrients. So ultimately plant will die. So water is an essential requirement for photosynthesis. Scarcity of water due to lack of rain may lead to shortage of food. Now what are the causes of water scarcity? First is population growth, then climatic change and variability, pollution of water bodies, and ignorance about saving water. So that is our responsibility to encourage as many people as we can do. Now there is water supply at our home. So from where does that water come? From rivers, from lakes. Okay, so before supplying that water to our home, that water is purified. Okay, before that we'll see what are the methods which we can use at our home to purify water. We are getting water. Okay, so what are the methods which we can perform at home to purify that water? First is by filtration. You have seen that our grandmas, they used to use that cloth over the mouth of the tap. So that cloth, that muslin cloth used to filter the suspended impurities. You know that suspended impurities are present in water. So by using that cloth, they used to filter that impurities. Or by boiling 10 to 15 minutes, we are killing all the germs. Okay. And again by cooling it immediately. So that is the one method for purification. Or by treating with some chemicals, like we can use bleaching powder or chlorine tablets to purify that water. Or by exposing water to ultraviolet radiation. By using UV rays, we are killing all the germs. We are making our water germ free. So these are the steps which can be used at home only. But what about the city supply? What the government will do? It will boil a large tank of water. No, boiling is avoided. So there are different steps which are used for purification of water for city supply. That means for large scale. That is, first is removal of suspended impurities. By adding a chemical compound which is known as alum, by adding alum to our water, what we are doing, the impurities are settled at the bottom and we get the filtered water above that impurity. Then second step is filtration. We take that the water which is present above the impurities, we filter that water. Okay. After filtration, aeration is performed. Aeration means air under high pressure is used. That air under high pressure is blown into the water, and that air pressure kills the microorganisms which are present in water. And last step is chlorination. By adding chlorine to our water, again we are killing all the remaining germs and we are making our water germ free. So these are the 4 steps which are used for purification for city supply, and they are in this manner only. This is the sequence. We cannot interchange the sequence. Okay. Then next and very common topic, water pollution. A very common practice again nowadays. Because of our practices, we are polluting the water bodies. So any water resource that has been polluted by effluent from industry, agriculture and household is known as wastewater or polluted water. What are the causes of water pollution? Sewage is the wastewater released from homes, industries, hospitals, offices and other sources. The sewage produced by all these industries, when we mix it with any water bodies, we are polluting that water. So before disposing this sewage into any water body, we must first treat it. Okay? It should be treated in any plant. Then the impurities present in water are known as contaminants. Okay, the impurities which are responsible for the water pollution, those impurities are known as contaminants or pollutants. So how can we avoid this situation? How can we make water a clean water? By avoiding all such activities. Sewage first should be treated in the plants. So that was all about chapter 16, a very basic and simple chapter. I hope you understood it. Thank you.